Phil Brooks. Today, I'm talking to you, Mr. Chick Magnet, Punk, Best in the World. You know, I actually kinda used to like you. In fact, I was even a fan. I mean, I've got your shirt. Look at that. And it says Best in the World at the back. It's a true, proper signature shirt from WWE itself. And I bought that shirt because at the time I bought into your lie that you sold and that you shot very well, and exceedingly so, for a good year there. I mean, I guess you've had some practice with lying, if not to others, at least to yourself. I mean, I bought this shirt because I bought into it. Your lying was so good, it convinced me, along with hundreds and thousands of other naive people who, following the attitude era of Stone Cold and this kind of persona that just says what everyone else is afraid to say and doesn't really care. You know, I thought it was cool, so I totally bought into it. You know what the difference is now, Phil Brooks? CM Punk? The difference is now, I wear this shirt because I am the best in the world. And it feels more fitting when I see myself wearing the shirt than when I see you wearing it. And when I used to watch you on the screens wearing it back in your day, when you could still hack it. See, I ended up realizing not too long after you left WWE, for whatever reason or string of reasons that you have, I realized who the real Phil Brooks is beneath, inside, and through CM Punk. I saw the real you. And I've seen your documentaries. I've heard your life story. I know you've had it tough. I know your dad had a drinking problem. Your sister drug problem. So your brother too, right? And him ripping you off when you were a kid. That must have broken your heart. Because you're absolutely right. Brothers don't do that to one another. Brothers are there to love you and help you, not stab you in the back and steal from you. So, after looking into your past a bit and learning a bit about your history and your life, it becomes obvious to anyone with half a brain and one eye open that you're a little bitter, that you've got a bit of a chip on your shoulder, because being a mastermind such as myself in the field of psychology, in the field of conditioning, in the field of truth, and the truth which you can sense in people and identify and call out, despite whatever sophisticated charade or guise or narrative they dress their life in and themselves in. Despite that, I can see the truth, and I see in you more clearly now than ever. No longer the best in the world. I don't see that. No longer the greatest underdog. in World Wrestling Entertainment / Federation history. I no longer see that either. What I see now, just like many other people are saying, and many other people are seeing, is a man afraid. I mean, you're going into your first UFC match on the 199th episode. That must have annoyed you a little bit, maybe even broken your heart. The fact that they wouldn't give you the big 200. Are you gonna leave UFC now as well because you didn't get WrestleMania? They couldn't even put you one show ahead because you're not that fucking amazing enough to them. Must piss you off. I see you now in UFC, and the funniest thing is UFC 2, the video game, which I'm yet to play, but I've seen friends play and I've looked it up online. There's a character on there named CM Punk, or Phil CM Punk Brooks, and you as the player can play as that character. Isn't that something? You can be CM Punk, not just in WWA 2K15 or whatever, but UFC 2. Isn't that something? And it is something, considering the fact that, and it's slightly ironic fact, considering the fact that there will be more people around the world, by the hundreds and thousands, who will get to be CM Punk and fight as CM Punk in the Ultimate Fighting Championship before the actual CM Punk, that is 100% of the time being CM Punk or Phil Brooks or whoever, before that person has actually had a single fight in the UFC. Isn't that funny? And I don't know if you're delaying it and you're playing this whole entire game, or well, I'm just waiting for the word. When they say I'm ready, I'm ready. I don't know if you're just trying to stall and buy time because you realize that the size of the cake that you have endeavored to wrap your jaw around simply is just a little bit heavy for you. Maybe you couldn't palate it as much as you thought you would. Maybe you aren't actually enjoying the prospect anymore of what this endeavor will bring to you. Maybe not as much as you first thought going in, because we both know, Phil Brooks, you're a confident guy. I mean, if you see your videos when you're young, how you talk to your audiences, you've always been this unabashed, loudmouth, arrogant asshole, which is fine. And you've taken much pride in being hated, in being vilified, in being the devil. You even admitted that in your documentary, that people started calling you devil, and you were like, yes, I did it. And we've seen that look you do. It's one of your patented, that mischievous, evil, sinister grin. I can hear the commentators in my head right now. You patented what it means to be a narcissist, a sinister narcissist with a dark, I was going to say with a dark heart, but I don't believe your heart's truly dark. I just think there is a darkness within it. And maybe for a long time now, it's been consuming you. Because at the end of the day, who could possibly live a life alone and not develop a bit of darkness in their heart? And you might say to me, what do you mean, stranger on the internet, Mr. Phoenix? What do you mean, alone? And I think we both know what I mean. There is a darkness in your heart. Because in your, as a psychologist would say, formative stage, as a child, unfortunately, you didn't have those role models you needed. Maybe you didn't get enough hugs, or enough attention, enough acknowledgement, recognition, respect, praise, love, compassion, guidance, a continued effort of any kind to help you. Maybe you didn't have any of that. Maybe you just didn't have enough. And so you got into wrestling. You found a way after, once again, from your mouth, straight from down that horse's gulp. You saw Roddy Piper on the screen smashing a coconut over someone's head and being just a loudmouth, arrogant asshole. And you thought, oh wow, this guy is dressing differently. I dress differently. He's being a loudmouth, obnoxious shit. I like being a loudmouth, trash talking asshole too. This is totally cut out for me. And so you used the domain of professional wrestling in order to shut everyone out and no longer deal with the agony of feeling alone and unloved and unhelped. They didn't give me enough. They never give me enough. I deserve more and they never give me enough. Does that sound familiar? So you got to that point, and instead of dealing with the agony of that alone, and letting that darkness just paralyze you until you're a crippled state of tears, you decided to do what I decided to do a long time ago when I felt like an outcast, when I felt like I didn't belong and that I wasn't accepted. I wasn't respected. I took my supposed weakness, I took what made me different, I took my ability to not give as much of a shit about ego and all that crap. I took my weakness and I turned it into my strong suit. And I wore it like shining armor. Like a sword, I held it in my hand. And I cut so many people down. All the meanwhile, both of us end up being alone, separate, and cut off, and trapped. And this is more so you now, because we're veering away from me, because I was talking about how I had a lack of ego. Whereas your ego rules you, and it owns you, and it controls you, and it is the undercurrent behind and underneath and through your deepest and most fiery and burning of desires and motivations and ambitions. You have so much to prove to yourself. You keep saying that it's not about anyone else, because you gave up on everyone else a long time ago. That is why you can leave WWE. And just like that, because you just can't take it anymore and you're not getting what you deserve, and whatever other reasons. That's why you can leave and completely ignore your fans and not even think for a moment, not even feel for a moment. An utter pigment of compassion. These people have been following you for a long time before WWE, a lot of them. But all of them, you cut them down the same, because just like most egotists, who feel like they don't get enough, that feel like the world's against them, that it's always about the next challenge because everything's a challenge, because you're not used to just being able to easily feel fulfilled by just connecting with people, by just working with people, by just enjoying what you're doing and creating between each other. You derive satisfaction, you derive a sense of purpose, you derive fulfillment by proving that you are the best in the world, by proving that you are better than other people, by proving that you are above them. that everybody's arms are just too short to wrestle with God. You believe you're so far above that it is us, your fans probably, that should feel grateful that you gave us so much as one single performance to bear witness, right? You're just there above, working this magic as you see it, working miracles, giving people perfection, giving people the best. And then what do you decide when, what do you do when you finally decide you've had enough? And you want to give up and move on to something else? You just turn out the light. And you just let everyone sit in the darkness, not without a clue, not knowing what happened to CM Punk, or why, or what any of it means. And yeah, maybe that's not your problem. Maybe as long as the ones you hold close are happy when they're around you and that makes you feel good, maybe that's all that matters. Maybe you don't need to answer to anyone else. You don't need to answer to your fans. Maybe your real fans will just get it. And it's like a hidden inside joke, but it's not an inside joke. It's an inside truth, and you believe that it should just be inherently, implicitly spoken silently, so that those who are truly paying attention will just know that you're really doing it for them as well, and really cared about them as well. But I don't think that is actually the case. I don't think that you endeavored onto your wrestling career for other people. I mean, I think you did, insofar as you need other people to derive validation, and you need to piss off people. You need to be against the odds, be against the grain, the herd, deliberately marching to your own beat and deliberately changing that beat so it's not too uniform with anyone else, just so that you can not only prove that you're better than them and they are nothing compared to you, but also so you can be validated. While they're hating you, you still want to be respected, because that's how you get validation, right? You need to be recognized for your accomplishments and for your feats, because what happened when you were young, and maybe other occasions that you've never spoken about, when you tried to build something and you put your heart into it, what happened? It wasn't not only not recognized, and it wasn't, not only pissed upon, it was stolen from you. Insult to injury. And so now you got a chip in your shoulder, you got darkness in your heart, you're a bitter man, if you can call yourself a man. And you can act like a man. But when you look beneath all the sharp, lacerative words, and you can make a little grammar slam video about that, because I know lacerative isn't a word. But right now I'm just making my own words. When you look beneath your lacerative words, and beneath your sinister, hard, I don't give a shit, fuck the world composure, you actually see a little, small as a butterbean, child or an embryo that never really got to grow, because right from the get-go it was stunted, and it wasn't nourished enough, it wasn't fed enough to grow. And so you're out in this world, you've left your family, you find a new family elsewhere, because when you're not finding something you need in one place, you go and you make it happen in another place, right? You go off, you find more fertile soil, and you bog yourself down, and you try to develop yourself in the ways that no one else did. And you try to do this alone. And you do this for years and years and years. And you go to work, and you're finally at that point where you think, I've grown. I'm no longer just an embryo. I'm no longer just a butterbean. I am a fully sprouted, fully flourished, fully blossomed, fruit bearing, whatever the fuck. Whatever the fuck you think you are. And then, just so you don't get too close to anyone so that they do see through you, because you can be an arsehole sincerely, but you can't fake sincerity. You can't fake goodness. You can't fake compassion or giving a shit. Because you don't really care about other people. Not even your wife. I mean, I'm sure there's a significantly large enough part of you that believes with every inch of its existence that you do love your wife. And I'm sure when she comes to leave you, or when you come to leave her, there will be a part of you that misses her and misses what she provided to your life. And you will reflect back on the times you shared, those special moments, from the beginning to the second beginning outside of WWE to the end. But still, the reason I say that you don't love anyone and you don't even love your wife, and I'm not saying it to be an asshole, I'm not saying it to be controversial, to stir, I'm saying it because to me, love is selfless, and love is about giving. It's about providing. It's about doing what you want to do because you care about someone else besides yourself so much so that you would rather take time and energy out that you could be using to further your own goals in life, and you dedicate it to them. And you don't feel bitter about it. You don't even think about it. You don't feel like you've lost anything. You don't conceive the word sacrifice because naturally your heart is compelling you just to give. And I can't see that in you. I really can't. Because you're a very self-oriented person. It's all about your story. It's all about keeping everyone on the outside, not too close. About you doing everything for you. And you've said that enough times that it's not an accusation. I'm reiterating the fact as you stated it. And what you care about is what you need to do, what you need to achieve. No one else gets in your way, right? So the point of this video, it isn't just to dig my eyes and my mental claws into you, Philbrooks. Because in all honesty, I respect you. And I admire the work you've done. In a similar, but don't boast too brightly, it's not too similarly, but I respect and I admire you in a similar light to how I respect someone like Adolf Hitler. Because despite being an awful human being, he was really just awful at connecting with people, at being compassionate, at giving a shit, at truly doing things for other people. He was an evil man. He was a delusional man with a warped perspective. So much so that the very people he set out to destroy were in his own image. Brown-eyed, brown-haired, short, Jew. And maybe the shortness was part of it, but you get the point. And so it's ironic that initially you may have started off going against the world and detaching and just becoming your own unit, your own one-man team in life. And good luck shaking that off with the marriage and everything. Like, I really do hope you can get out of that and learn to be vulnerable, be open, to trusting, to receiving, and then to allow yourself, after feeling the nurturing love that you are receiving, I hope that naturally you feel compelled to give it back, instead of just feeling elated and feeling like you love someone because when you touch them, you get butterflies and you feel alive and your heart quickens and your cock goes hard and whatever else. remove the two greatest qualities that AJ has. Remove the greatest one quality that April has. Would you still be with her? Are all those other things enough? Maybe you would. But how much you're invested, how much you are actually committed to for the long haul. Has that changed at all? Just because that one thing's removed. Do you love her for who she is, or do you love her for how she makes you feel? Because you can always tell when a young girl or girl, doesn't matter, girls in general, not women, girls, because they're not at that stage in development yet. You can always tell when a girl doesn't really love someone, but they believe they do. Because you'll ask them about their relationship, about the guy they're seeing, and they will speak all kinds of butterflies of color. You'll just see it unfurl from their lips, this poetry and these notions of love, and they'll say things like, he makes me feel special, he makes me feel funny, he makes me feel sexy, he makes me feel smart, he makes me feel respected, he's fun, he's exciting, I love him because he drives me to drive myself and to push myself. I love him because I never get bored around him. I love him because he always listens to me when I need to talk. And that's how you can tell that it's not really love. And a lot of people make this very common mistake. Because when you hear people talking like that, you notice a pattern. And the pattern is this, that it's all very, he or she makes me feel something, or he or she provides this or that. It's all about the other person in the relationship giving something to you, and it affects you in such a way that you become more appreciative. And yes, that's part of love, and I'd be lying if I said that in my relationships or in anyone's relationship there isn't an element of that. I mean, you are meant to receive what someone else is giving to you out of love and appreciate it thus. So I'm not condemning that alone. What I am doing is condemning that if it is alone, if it's the only thing that the person talks about, instead of being like, oh, okay, why do you love a person? And they respond, because I feel like I have purpose and I can provide whatever I can provide to this person's life to make it more significant, more meaningful, more purposeful, more productive, more fruitful. You know, people who love someone, they say, I love them because I make them laugh. You know, because I can make them happy, because I can give them what they need. And that makes me feel great. That is my love compelling me to provide, just like love compels God to provide. And it's the devil which taketh away, and taketh and taketh and taketh ceaselessly, and the appetite is never quenched. So I'm not having a dig at you, Phil. I'm just having a heart-to-heart and an eye-to-eye conversation with you. And I hope this is a conversation. I hope this video finds you. I hope whoever sees this video clicks like and share. You don't even need to click like, but if it helps it come up in the playlist more, then do click like and share. And if subscribing helps because it makes my channel more popular, do that too. I hope you all do whatever you can to help this get through to you, CM Punk, because this is for you and no one else. Because at some point in my life, you meant something to me. And when I was your fan, you helped me through some really challenging times, some really challenging issues. And you inspired me to push myself and rise above those issues. And I know I'm not alone. I know you've helped. A lot of people, a lot of people have given their praise, thanked you endlessly. Even now, even now, after you've abandoned them, they still love you and respect you. It's just sad.
Because you are great. Just like Hitler was great. Hitler, CM Punk. I'm not saying you guys are like that close to each other. Like I said, don't get a big head. But you're both great people. You achieved greatness.
Despite being a bit dark in your heart.
But the one difference maker, the tragedy of it all, is that there wasn't enough goodness. You weren't good. You were great, but you're not good. And that's a shame because all those people that love you now, you've turned your back on. And it's not that you've given up on them. It's not that you no longer care, or you don't feel compassion for them, or you don't appreciate their dedication and their support for your career and helping to make you what you were and a fragmented version of now of what you are. It's not even about that because I honestly believe that you never really cared that much in the first place to give a shit what people thought, if they enjoyed it, if they supported you. You can't let them down if you've never actually held them in your arms and taken some responsibility for your part in the relationship. If you're just like null and void to everyone, you're just in it for yourself, then you haven't left anyone. Because when you came to the WWE, when you came anywhere, you were always alone and you had already left everyone upon entering through the entry door. You were always exiting. And you exited WWE and now you go to UFC. And I wish you well because, to be honest, I would just feel really bad for you. I feel bad for April dealing with your stress. If you lose your match, plus it would give a bit of a bad name for wrestling as well. So, as you know, representing at least the thing you used to have something to do with back in the day when apparently it was your passion, but now it's like, oh, I just wasted my time. It's kids' play, right? I still want you to represent and win for that. But that's the thing, like, it really shows your true colors. You've gone to a place and you're like, oh, I was sick of putting in everything and not getting much back. You got so much back in so little time. Your career compared to others, it's like you have no idea how it actually works in the real world, and you're just this brat who, through fortuitous handling, through different smaller independent organizations you worked in, developed a naive interpretation of the world of wrestling and how a wrestler should be treated, respected, how they should be pushed, how frequently they should be pushed. Because you got lots of pushes. You got a lot of creative control, direct control, like, and it wasn't enough, right? It's not what you really deserve, right? You still weren't getting what you deserved. It's never enough. And now you're in a place and you think it's more meaningful that you will get back what you put in here. But what is it? It's a physical contest between people slugging it out with their fists and their feet and their heads and their bodies to see who's quicker, more agile, stronger, more tactful, more experienced, more lucky sometimes. A combination of things. But it's just like a boring, simple mathematical equation. This guy versus that guy, put them in 5 fights, one of them is going to come out more so on top than the other. But what does it mean that you're faster, that you're more tactful, that you're stronger, that you're more vicious? Before in the WWE, when you were at the top for over a year, it meant those things still. But it meant a lot more. To get to the top at all, to get to the spots that you got to throughout your career, it does represent greatness. It does represent achievement, accomplishment. On a mental level, on a physical level, on an ability to act level. I mean, that's what pro wrestling is, right? It's not just who's the better
Fighter, it is who's the better athlete in a spectacle, who's the better talker on the microphone.
and a storyteller, and who's the better actor, who can actually sell the moves, make it all look real, and act between shots and seem sincere when they're talking. And you mastered all of that. When you were the champion for 434 days, longest reigning in the last 25 years or whatever, 15 years or 25, whatever. To me, that represents more than it ever will. Even if you go undefeated in the UFC and you win your first fight against Mickey Gall and you win your second and your third and your fourth and then maybe quit while you're ahead, right, and go to the next mountain, what are you really achieving? What were you really running from? And what were your real reasons for running from it? Are there aspects of the life you had and the world that you existed in and contributed to and had contribute to you in return? Are there any aspects of that world that you miss? That you regret turning your back on? Just so you can see if you can punch people faster and harder while missing their punches? It's one thing to turn your back for a list of legitimate reasons. It's another thing to completely ignore everyone and then say, oh, wrestling is not really, a sport. It's not really real. What you said, it's not real, and so it's predetermined, so you don't really get back what you put in. I beg to differ. I think that it is more fickle, the outcome of a UFC fight. It is more fickle, the outcome, depending on the state of the fighters at the time and a bunch of things. You have the same guys fighting 10 times, and there is a chance that each one will win and lose 5 times. So it's very fickle. There's not much really, it doesn't really mean much. If you win, whoop-de-fucking-do. Circumstantially, with your genetics against theirs on this very night, and your state of health right now, and your state of mind right now, you proved yourself superior and dominant. Way to go. But if you get to the top of professional wrestling, it represents a greater accomplishment on many more tiers, on many more levels. So it kind of offends me that just because you turned your back for whatever personal reasons or impersonal reasons you had, kind of hurts my feelings. It's a bit offensive. That you turn your back and all of a sudden wrestling itself is bullshit. And it wasn't really where your heart is now, and it's not, and you don't have any regrets, but you wish you did your UFC stuff sooner. It's almost as if you've got it in your head that when you leave something, it's just rendered pointless and irrelevant and meaningless and valueless. Like you, like God, bestow value upon the world and can also dictate what should be condemned and cut off. Now, I'm saying a lot of very harsh, very direct, strong things. And you can take it how you will. You can take the traces of truth that you see just dancing on the surface. Maybe you'll discredit this as being total and utter bullshit. Maybe you're not even watching now. Maybe you gave up as soon as you saw the title of the video or after the first couple of minutes. Whatever you choose to do in your life, if you are watching this far, heed. As one who sees, I see where you came from, and I see the darkness there, and I see what you've carried to the present day within your heart and within your soul, within your mind, like a neurotic freak fixated on one version of interpretation, one version of interpreting things. Like that pair of cool shorts you used to wear as a teenager, back when you had the most friends and the most fame in a relative way, most popularity, and so you don't want to part with your shorts, and every now and then you might wear it again, or that jacket, you might wear it again, and it makes you feel more valuable.
You've taken that darkness with you, and for a long time, maybe it helped and it served a purpose, and maybe it was for the betterment of your development as an ego, as a person, as a soul, on a journey, whatever. But is there an expiry date on that darkness, on that version of interpreting life that certain way that has become so familiar that you just don't want to let go of it? You just want to maintain it. Are you really happy? Are you really most happy and exhilarated and fulfilled when you're pursuing new challenges that appeal to you? Is that when you're really happy? Or are you continually running away from the world, from your past, from everyone else, from yourself? Are you just losing yourself, not in drugs, not in alcohol, not in cigarettes, or anything like that, but losing yourself so far up your ass, running full pelt, all the way as far as that baby goes, to the point where even though you think the world is shit, and it's full of shit, and it smells like shit, it's only that way because of where you're choosing to stay. And where you are choosing to furthermore keep going. I have faith in you, Phil Brooks. I really do. I mean, it's gonna be hard. You had some pretty hardcore imprinting done upon you. Hardcore impressions, and they will always be there. You'll always have your triggers, you'll always have your hot buttons. But I have faith that a man of your prowess, your tact, your ability to cut through bullshit. I'm sure you know when you're talking bullshit. I'm sure you can cut through it too if you needed to. Maybe not. Maybe you're one of those unfortunate fools who has bought into their own foolish gold to the point where you're being all miserly, protecting that gold, clutching it to your chest, hiding it from the world, not letting anyone even see it, not sharing the mere sight of it, because it's you. It's all you. It's all you to behold. It's all about you beholding you. In as many great masks and as many great guises, holding as many great belts as you can, climbing as many mountaintops, sticking in as many flags, conquering, at least back in the day, as many chicks, maybe? Chick magnet? Just ask yourself those questions. Where are you really going? Are you up your ass? Some of the time? Half the time? All the time? Most of the time? You're a great dude, Phil Brooks. You achieved the relative impossible. Relatively. I mean, you weren't a tiny guy. You were already 6 foot. And there'd be many guys with your appearance in the WWE. I honestly don't know where you drew that whole angle from, because it was a little bit forced, a little bit milked, stretched. You knit a whole entire sweater out of that angle, and you only had a piece of string. Anyway, I've ranted on long enough. You're probably not even listening anymore. But if you are, hit me up. My channel is Phoenix M88, because I'm a male who was born in 1988. I'm 28 years old, 10 years younger than you. So you could just dismiss everything I'm saying because I'm just a kid, but I don't think you would have that kind of attitude. I think you at least show respect to people because you realize it's in your best interest to. and you respect the merit of someone's word regardless of what they look like, their culture, there are good aspects to you, and the way that you would interact with people personally who are close to you that you value, I'm sure it's great as well. But I'm still questioning how much good there is in your deeds, how much selfless, honest, good intention there is in general in how you interact with the world and what you seek to pursue and the outcomes you seek to realize. Is it for you, then April, or you and April? Just like you're wrestling. Because they're both very intimate relationships you have. One is a wrestler with his audience and with the people he wrestles with, and the other is your partner in crime. To the end, hopefully. At least that's what they say. Is your heart in it with her? If it is, I hope it's in it a lot more than it was in your relationship. With all the people who never gave up on you. Who you gave up on. Just because a few assholes gave up on you at a young age. It's not right. You can twist it, you can badmouth it, you can pull your faces and seem all sinister. Just because you're abandoned, it doesn't mean that you can ignore the emotional repercussions you cause by earning people's affections and their respect and their praise and their love, their adoration, their admiration, and then turning off the lights on them. It's pretty fucking lousy. It's what changed me from being a Phil Brooks guy into being someone who still appreciated what Phil Brooks did for the companies he worked in. But I don't appreciate the man for who or what he is nearly as much. And that's my final question, Phil Brooks, CM Punk. My final question to you, if you want to respond and make this a discussion, legit. Everything you do, the choices you make, the possibilities in this world that you pursue, are you doing it so that you can achieve, so that you can accomplish, so that you can receive a sense of victory? Or are you doing it because you feel in your heart you want to provide to the best of your ability, the best of you, to inspire the world, to connect with the world, to give back to the world? Do you want to be remembered for the guy who was great because of the things he did? Who was respected, regardless of being liked, who was respected for the things he did? Or do you actually care about being liked, being admired, being cared for who you are? If you do, keep your head up and good luck at 199. Because this one over here, this little stranger here, he cares about you. But that probably doesn't really mean a whole lot. So, make a video if you want to reply to me. Send it to my channel at PhoenixM88. If you would like to look up some material on me so that you've got some dirt to dig and cut a really good shoot on me, because that would be fucking awesome. And I'm saying that now, and I'm aware that by saying that, just to spite me, because it's in your nature to spite people, you're not going to make a promo video to respond to me, just because I requested, or just because I thought I'd like it. Really, to be honest, I don't care. if you respond. All I care about is that you find this, that you watch it, and that you listen. Not because I believe that I know everything, that I know the truth, that you should listen to me because I'm right. No way. What the fuck am I talking about? I know nothing. Nothing. This is just a bunch of words coming out. This is just a face and a tongue. It flickers, it makes words that for some reason seems like a good idea to say at the time. Whether or not it actually represents the truth, that's really up to you to figure out. And I hope you're seeing this. And as I was saying, if you want to chase up dirt on me, feel free to look at my channel and all the stupid, incriminating shit I put on there. Feel free to look up the WZWA, or Warzone Wrestling Alliance, in Perth, Western Australia, and look up Phoenix. Just chuck in WZWA Phoenix, and you'll see some of my work and some of my wrestling, which apparently you're totally over now, right? So whatever, you don't have to watch it. But if you want, because I am speaking as one artist in this world of wrestling who appreciates the art of wrestling, to someone else who is an artist in a great respect, in a lot of ways. You know, in a large way, in a lot of ways, and who has been an artist in the world of wrestling. I'm just talking as a fan to a fan, as a dude to a dude, as a mind to a mind. And that's mostly the stuff I find when I look at you. If you do respond, why not respond by telling me what you see? And we can go tit for tat. Blessings, punk. You need them just as much as any other man, woman, or child does.